Hi, this is Kathy DeHart with DeHart Construction Services, located right here in the Inland Empire. You know, we're a family-owned business, and today our youngest member of our family is visiting. Kinsey, can you say hi?
Hi.
Now, Kinsey, I have an important question for you. Where do you think food comes from?
A market store?
You're right. But before it gets to a market, we have farmers and dairies and all kinds of other people who make food. Do you remember hearing that?
Uh-huh.
And then we have people who have to keep the food cold.
And guess what?
What?
I remember we getting strawberries at a little market.
Well, Papa and I, we work with companies that make food and keep food cold and gets it to the grocery stores.
That's cool.
DCS is a proud supporter of the American Dream. For all of your cold storage or food facility needs, visit our website at chillwithdheart.com. Once again, chillwithdheart.com. Serving all of California, CSLB 949062.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Legs at War Room. We don't have a guest today. We just have our perspective, and a lot of things are going on politically and a lot of events that we've had, and we want to talk about it today. We have our producer, Alfred, who's going to be joining us right now. He's backstage getting some stuff together. And we have the founder of Lexit, Jesse Holguin, who's been pushing hard, pushing out there, getting the message across that Latinos don't have to be Democrat, but also to lead with your godly moral values. Whether you vote for your godly moral values, just go out there and give your opinion based off of our moral compass. That's been something that's been huge with Lexit, and that's something we stand behind, and we stand firmly. We draw a line in the sand, and we won't waver from it. We get a lot of heat a lot of times, you guys, and we've lost a lot of opportunities. And I wouldn't say they're opportunities for us, but they're opportunities. People would call them opportunities to be in a bigger stage, but that's okay. That's not where God has called us. We're going to build our own platform. We're going to build our own table, and we're going to be able to lead with the word of God. And we really, that's what we push here. So what's up, Jess? How's it going, bro?
What's up, brother? What's up, brother? Yeah, we have, like, I'm saying, we have lots of haters, but that just means that you're putting it down. That means you're doing a great job when people are hating on you. But we got the number down at the bottom of the show right there. So as the show's going on, if you guys at any time, if you guys want to call in and chime in or ask us a question or whatever, go ahead and call in. Go ahead and get it rolling, A-Rod.
Yeah. What's up? So let's get started. Well, first, we haven't been on in a while. It's been a month, I believe, since we've been on, and we wanted to talk about the Dodger event real quick that we had during LGBTQ night at Dodger Stadium. We had an event. It was an event opposing. What they basically had this group coming on that mocked God. This group literally had a cross at some of their events where they were stripping and dancing and mocking Jesus. And we took offense to that because the Bible says he will not be mocked. And I think it was time that we stood up and stood firm. The Dodgers heard about our event, and we're doing a counter protest, right? And or a protest against it. And they heard about our event, and they decided to give us a lot. I think it was to appease us, of course, but we took advantage of that. And it was never about stopping people to go in. It was basically letting the Dodgers and letting the world know that there are people out there that are sports fans, but definitely not okay with what the Dodgers did with this group. And we felt like we proved what we actually set out to prove by having numbers out there, by having Christians and Catholics out there, by having faith-based people out there, by praying, by having, basically we had church and we were spreading the gospel out there, and the news picked it up. We got millions of views off of the Dodger burning video we did. So we felt that Lexit played its part in pushing back against this agenda, this wicked agenda that the left is basically the devil, whatever you want to call it, is pushing. And we're going out swinging. We ain't going to sit back. We ain't going to do lightly. We're going out swinging. So, yeah, Jess, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I'm proud that we helped put the Dodgers' feet to the fire. We made them feel it for what they did, that terrible decision, like I was saying, to bow down to the alphabet mafia. It was a total disgraceful, especially for us because we're lifelong Dodgers fans. And for them to go out like that, it was very disappointing how they caved to the Alphabet Mafia. And like I said during when I was speaking at the event, is that the teachers union was one of the main culprits that manipulated the Dodgers into allowing them. That just shows how vile and disgusting the school boards. Now we see how the school that how all this doctrine they're pushing in on the kids at school, grooming the kids at school, trying to push the gay lifestyle down the kids' throats, all that now. You see it full blown when they're the ones that manipulated the Dodgers, and they told the Dodgers that children were gonna die if the Dodgers didn't allow that trans group to go to the stadium. That's totally despicable. But we know how the devil is. The devil's a liar, and that just shows how pissed off they were because we had a few victories this year. Like we've been doing good. All the parents have been rising up, even across the nation. Muslims, Christians were all uniting against these grooming of these kids in different states. And even that day at the Dodger Stadium, it was good because we put all the denominational stuff, all Catholic, Christians. We just all came together. We put all that stuff aside, and we were just for Christ. We were just out there angry for how they disrespected the Lord, and we wanted to make sure that the Dodgers, these leftists, and all over the world heard about it. And like I said, it was good that we got a lot of publicity and all of that. So it was good. So hopefully all these other stadiums and all that will think twice before doing something like that. But it even shows how despicable and disgusting these Democrats were because they seen the outrage from the people of faith, Catholics and Christians. They seen all of that going on. And right when all of that's going on, the Democrats in the House or whatever, they invite those disgusting nun dudes into the state capitol. Can you believe that? They invited these dudes into the state capitol. And not only that, right here at LA, right there, like at City Hall or something, they had some kind of a ceremony too. And the Democrats right here in LA, they invited those same dudes. That's just why would they think about that? Why would you possibly invite that? Like you could invite, there's a bunch of other gay and or whatever groups and all that. Why that one? It's because you see we're all offended. You see everything going on with that disgusting, vile group. So that's just them sticking their finger in all of our people faith's eyes. These Democrats and like, look, we're righteously giving them a spotlight, honoring them, and all that. That if that doesn't show you how disgusting, vile the Democrats are, I don't know what is. But it was a great turnout. It was a great event. The Lord blessed it. It was even great. The best part I liked was the worship music. It was great. It was a great time when we were all out there praising the Lord in front of Dodger Stadium. I know all those ones were on the hot seat inside the stadium. You know what I mean? They were hearing us praising Jesus. They could hear it from inside the stadium.
Right, 100%, man. So, yeah, I thought it was an awesome event, and I love just watching the process of putting it together and stuff like that. I always think it's fascinating when you have people, because a lot of times people just see events and they don't know what like comes together, who has to come together, and what ideologies have to be kind of, sometimes when you have a lot of faiths uh, coming together, it's kind of hard because everybody's like, well, my faith's the best, my faith. But I felt like this one went well because at the end of the day, a lot of people kind of just sat back and just say, hey, look, we have one agenda we're pushing up against, and we did. We went out there, and I thought it was awesome. Like I said, we felt like, I always get this a lot of times, and just for and I always say this, and the guys know, Alfred, all the guys in some of the group chats, I always say, for the sake of being transparent, right? And I feel like it's important because a lot of people see our group, they see Jess, they see Alfred, they see all of us, and we go and we post it, whatever, and they don't know like a lot of what goes on in the background with messages. They don't know a lot of times they're saying to themselves like, oh, just legs. All they do is post to social media. All they do is this and that. Okay. But they don't understand is there's a lot of groups out there that weren't conservative. A lot of, and you guys know some of these pages that are big Chicano pages that 2 years ago were not as conservative. And now they're posting conservative videos on their pages, and they'll, I mean, to be honest, they'll credit us for that. So a lot of times everybody says, well, votes don't equal, people on social media, but minds and hearts do. People contact people who contact people. There's a reason why Latinos are becoming more conservative and swaying the vote. We feel like we playing a big part in that because a lot of Latinos are on social media, at least a younger crowd, and we're just giving them another perspective. It's like planting a seed. It's like, for instance, and we'll get into that, the Joe Biden thing. We'll get into that a little bit later with the Hunter Biden thing, right? A lot of people that are from the hood will see somebody like Hunter Biden and they'll be like, oh, yeah, we know what's up with this fool, right? So do you think mainstream media is going to post that? No, of course they're not going to post that because it makes who look bad? Makes their champion look bad. So the minute we post that, a lot of people say, well, let's just be honest. This is fact. They'll see us post it. They'll grab it. They'll post it. So it kind of makes a lot of people think. A lot of people who looked at Donald Trump and said, man, this guy's not presidential material. Then they'll look at Hunter Biden and they'll be like, well, neither is that side, right? Or neither is this. So a lot of times the mainstream media will only, man, we watch them. We watch these dudes bash Donald Trump like if this dude was supposed to be a priest, like a pastor, right? We watched them bash him like he couldn't even pick his nose, and they were like, oh my God, right? And look, you got this happening at the White House, and then you look on social media. I mean, you look on the news, and they're trying to make every excuse in the book for it, right? So a lot of people don't understand that what we do in our movement by we see people that weren't activated before, and now we see them at school board meetings, and they're like, well, what's Lexa doing? And I'm thinking to myself, don't you know that these guys used to follow Jesse a year and a half ago? They listened to Jesse's message. They heard some of our videos, and now they're running for school board. Well, that's what we've done. This is what we've done. A lot of people that are new in the movement, we've seen a lot of people come and go, but we felt like we've always tried to plant the seed to just a little bit to ignite people and get people into it. We can't do everything, but that's a lot that we have done while we're out there. So, Alfred, what do you think, real quick, before we go into the Hunter Biden thing, what do you think about the Dodger event? You were there. You're doing some journalism. You guys were talking to some pastors, priests. What did you take from the event?
What I took overall, man, I was able to see that we were all united. I mean, as far as the Christian community, although there's a lot of dust, in the midst of everything, everybody was working for the same outcome. It was to involve, or actually to project, that this conform about Dodgers bringing in a certain group that really was attacking a particular faith. Imagine if in this case it was the Catholics, right? Because nuns, they don't belong to Christian, as far as Protestant Christian, but we saw them mocking the cross. You know what I mean? I love what one of the pastors says. It says, hey, listen, we in a sense have to bring our essence of who we are into the culture, right? And we need to stand firm in our beliefs. If they do this to the cross, or even to the Catholics and the nuns, imagine what else can be tolerated. So I think it was a sense. I like what you said. You said we need to draw the line, and I think we came together and drew the line and said enough is enough. And so everybody coming together, and we show we can do it. In a sense, the community was together, and even that, man, we had people from the other side. There was like, we were able to see. I mean, as we were walking and taking videos, and we were walking out of the event, we actually saw 13 of the LGBT community facing off a mass amount of people. And guess who was the rowdiest? Them. They were being violent. They were being not only protected, but they were being, disrespectful to the police. I mean, you saw at least 7 or 8 officers in bikes around this group, and they were being disrespectful. And we can tell. We were like, see, everybody was exposed to be able to see when we come together and we stand firm, who's gonna speak. Let our actions speak for themselves. And we saw the other side was really being disrespectful to the officers. So it was kudos to the whole team, everybody that came together, not only Lexit, but multiple people, churches that I heard of, that heard about it, and they showed up, and we showed up big.
Like, yeah, it's working. It's like that showed, it was like an eye opener to everybody that we're Christians are tired of it because we're always the punching bag. Everybody could just do whatever they want, but it's seen. So the people are seeing the boycotts. We see what's happened to Bud Light, Target, all of that stuff. So we need to keep it up. Everybody keep it up. That any of these woke companies, we got to make them feel it. If they will, you want to go woke, you'll go broke. You know what I mean? We need to all
Well,
stick
isn't Bud Light?
together.
Aren't they? The waters more expensive than the Bud Light?
Yeah, that's what I
Golly.
heard.
Man, bro,
Free
like,
coupon or what?
bro, I'm like that'll show you
We're gonna
right
have them at
there,
the dollar store pretty soon.
bro. That shows you right there, and that's the thing is, I think the CEO from Bud Light said he tried to play the guilt trip, right? He came out and said, "Oh, look what you guys are doing to all the employees. Don't get mad at me, even though I made the decision, right? Just my decision. But look what you guys are doing." It's like, no, look what you've done. And you know what? I don't know if he actually believes that. But if he actually believes that, that makes sense because a lot of people that are on the left can never see the actual truth. A lot of these people live in like this echo chamber where they think that everybody thinks like them. But hello, do you guys know that most rural America, most outskirts outside these bigger cities, a lot of people are still church going, conservative, and even if they're not church going, I call it generational. I don't even know the word. Generational uh, culture. Like your grandpa 3 generations above was Catholic, and even though you're not Catholic, they've instilled in you certain things. For instance, don't walk into if you've never been in a church, don't walk into a church. They say with your hat on, right? They know when you come into somebody's house, you're about to pray. Don't you may not even go to church, but there's things that have been passed down from generation to generation. So even though the household itself is not going to church, a lot of people will see something like this and they'll be like, "Well, that's not how I was raised. That's not right." Right? So when they came out and had that, they thought it was smart to have a dude dressed like a girl and have a Bud Light and go out there knowing that a lot of people are not feeling that, especially that drink that beer, and you thought it was gonna work, and then you're trying to play the guilt trip. Like, bro, come on, like, you know what I mean? Like at some point, they got to get to the point where eventually they're going so broke that people are going to stop and go, "Well, I'm not going to do that," and they're going to have to back out. You know what I mean?
Hey, Rod, I think what you mentioned is key because you mentioned, you said your words say something, but your actions are something else. For example, in Canada, right? I mean, look at them. There was a float, Bud Light sponsoring the whole Canadian. So you're upset about conservatives not drinking your product, right? Unleashing on the American market, right? The red wave, as we call it, those people that purchase these beers. I don't drink, but in a sense, you see the power that we have over them. They say the guilt trips, but then here we are, Canada, full on floats, shirts for everybody. See what I mean? So what does that tell you? Your words can say something, but your actions are something else. And that's why right now Bud Light is feeling the heat. They lost the throne. Actually, over the last 6 months, they've been dethroned by Coors Light, and good for Coors because I know they're working hard and they're promoting whatever they could with their product. And Bud Light is trying to do these horses and trying to come back to that conservative base, and unfortunately, it's not working.
They blew it, bro.
Yeah, what another thing too that I want to talk about is that we're luckily, praise Jesus, that that Pride Month is over. You know what I mean? We just celebrated the 4th and all that, but I want to talk about get your thoughts on it because it seems like every year it's getting worse. That's why this was like the first year, like I said, where we had several victories that we were pushing back. A lot of people were pushing back on it, but it was just vile that how at some of the events they had grown men walking around nude on bikes. There was a video, and I don't want to post it. I seen somebody else post, but I already know if we post it, we would get hit. Like I posted a video, there was a tranny with an erection in the girls' restroom, and IG hit us for that. And it's not even showing anything or nothing like that. Just shows that there's a dude with an erection in the girls' restroom, and IG hit us. We got a violation, so right now they're shadow banning us for posting that. So I seen there's videos of grown men butt naked on bicycles riding in those parades with little children are riding with them. Imagine that. grown men are butt naked. It's such an outrage how anybody oh, if they say they're trans or gay or at a pride event, then that's full okay. They could go around naked. They even over there in New York and all that, they were all naked, topless, and all that. All these women in a big old fountain. It was like all wild, disgusting. It's just, and they always try to talk about privilege. That's why I always say they have liberal privilege because anybody else was to do that, walk around nude, they would be arrested. But all if he says that he's alphabet mafia community, then okay, they get a pass, and then seems like these cops are all gun shy, scared to be arresting them. They should be arresting them. Say, well, that's against the law. Like that's even too. I'm calling out Republicans. Republicans should be making laws. The only one that did something was DeSantis over there in Florida, where he said that children weren't allowed to go to these events, right? And then what did they do? They canceled their events. Like what? Oh, just because children can't be there, you guys are canceling? Like, what's up with that? That's totally crazy. Like, why would you want children? But Republicans should need to be passing legislation showing that or telling the police you arrest them if they anybody nude or any that stuff, you arrest them or pass laws where kids ain't allowed to be right there. But yeah, what do you got to think about all? Because it was, man, I'm even dreading next year because, like I said, every year it seems like that month gets worse and worse.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. I don't even know what to say anymore. Like you see, if we were to watch a grown dude running around naked right now, um, they would probably be arrested if it's just a random dude, right? The police will at least pull him over, right? But because all of a sudden it's a parade and it's LGBTQ parade, all of a sudden it's accepted, and it's like, well, is any other crime accepted just because it's a part of a parade? I'm not sure. Like, can I just wave a gun in a parade and it's accepted? Can I sock somebody in the face and that's accepted as long as it's a parade? Can I run over somebody with a bunch of cars like you've seen that, and that acceptable? Because no, you know what I mean. So why is this acceptable? It's because people with moral compasses, people Christian of faith, anybody has let sin creep in, and even in the conservative movement, I've said this, and people have gotten mad at me, and I've said
Trojan
this.
horse.
It's a Trojan. I've said this, and Jesse knows, and Alfred knows for years. It's like if I woke up today, and I'm just talking about believers. I'm just talking to believers, just people that have more. If I woke up today and say, I just want to let you guys know I cheat on my wife, and by the way, I do coke, and I beat on her from time to time, and everybody's gonna be like, bro, you need to repent. I'm like, yeah, but I'm running for Congress, and you know what they would say? They would be like, well, I'm not gonna back this guy because even though cheating or whatever, he's not got caught or whatever, it's still sin. But I could come out as a part of the LGBT community and automatically they'll be like, well, we accept you even though it's sin. Because we've already had people, senators or congressmen, approach us already and tell us that the GOP soon is going to be voting on here in California. And there's some that have stood against us, and they're going to be voting on soon. They're going to drop some of the pillars as far as the traditional marriage. They're already looking into saying, hey, look, we're going to drop those pillars because we're going to lean more this way. And we're like, what? And they're like, yeah. And some of these people that have stood up against this at some of these meetings, they're being canceled. And they're just conservative men to be like, hey, man, these are our pillars. Like, we would never have done this. And they're like, yeah, well, guess what? Get with the plan. And it's like, well, as conservatives, how do we expect the police? How do we expect anybody to look at that's wrong when we're in the beginning baby stages of that? We are, because it started over there just like this. Like it literally did. It just didn't creep up one day and happen. Somebody said along the line, because remember, we watched it fast. Do you remember when Joe Biden and Barack Obama were against all this, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the baby stages. They're here now. We're at the baby stages. We're going to be there. But guess what? If we have to be the Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, if we have to be that, then we'll be that. That's what God has called us to be. and stand up and not kneel like everybody else, then hey, so be it. But we didn't come to have a platform. We didn't come to be, hey, we want to be on the main stage. We came because we wanted God's truth to be told. Like literally, we're up here saying that's not right. Like we get this, this, and this, but this is not right. Like, come on, everybody. And they're like, bro, you need it out of the way. So a lot of times, like Jess says all the time, when I look at that, I always look at our side and I'm like, but what are we doing? That's why a lot of times they're like, I'm not lying. I'll have people, I'll tell them, whether at the jiu-jitsu or wherever, I'm like, hey, check out the exit page. Never fails. Next time they see me, they're like this. Just standing next to me, all awkward. I'm like, did you check out the page? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, does it seem a little extreme to you? They're like, I don't know, bro. Like you guys, and I go, okay, let me ask you a question. Everything that we post, do you believe in it? Yeah, but it's kind of harsh. I said, okay, do I seem like that in person? I seem like an honest guy. Jess, you talk to like normal, and they're like, yeah. Everyday guy. I go, somebody has to hold that line. And they just look at me. I go, somebody has to go out there and hold that line. If not, then the line keeps on getting pushed back. Somebody has to go out there and preach truth. And they just look at me and they're like, you're right. Nobody's doing it. And I'm like, nobody is. Because everybody's looking for the next win. Everybody's looking for the next whatever they want. And they may look at us like extremists or whatever, but all we're doing is holding the line, preaching the truth, and we can't waver from that. We can't. So when we see people like naked guys out there, we're like, yeah, but we didn't vote for those people. We voted for our side. So we're like, hey, you guys, you got to push back against this. We're only as strong as our representation.
You know what, Arod? We're the same. See, because we're the same as like all Republicans, whatever. We were all united on like 5 years ago on the same whatever. So we're stayed there, but they're going to the left. That's what's happening. See, they're going to the left, but we're trying to just stay where we were for 5 years, how we've always been. We've always been right here, God first, and we're not going to, but they're going to the left, and then they're mad because we won't compromise, because we won't start going to the left. So then, oh, that you guys are extreme. Oh, you guys are haters. Oh, whatever. Like, no. We're not going to bow. We're like Arod said, we're going to stand. We're going to hold the line because we honor God, not a party. We're God first before party or any of that. But yeah, the party is moving to the left, but we won't. And you can count on us that we're going to continue to hold the line. Go ahead, Alfred.
I was going to say, man, 100%, man. I think overall we're doing it. We're starting to see the numbers, and I know you guys are looking at the page, the views. People are waking up. People are actually starting to have a second thought. Eventually, at first, it was like, okay, to each his own. But now at least it's like, wait a minute, that actually contradicts with my values. So now at least people are thinking about it. So good for the Lexit, man. Lexit has been working hard on projecting some of this truth and being able to expose some of these things. That's why you see a lot of the stuff that's happening. Listen, we, like Arod said, we did not vote for June month to be Pride Month. Realistically, I knew that this was a bad idea. We have people, professionals are saying this is a bad idea. You have a lot of maps, right? As they call them, minor attractive people out there. And this is the way they take advantage. This is the way for them to get out, to actually go. And somebody said it here, shame on the parents for bringing their kids to these events and these pride events.
That's
because it is wild. I mean, it's like saying, I remember back in the 80s when they told us, be careful for those people that show you the candy. Don't accept the candy. Don't grab it because they're going to take you. Well, nowadays we have parents taking them to where the candy is. So it's mind-boggling, man, to be able to see how up is they say up is down and down is up. That's where we're at now. And so I'm just disgusted for parents to be able to do this. And on the Pride on June, we need to make it a June for Christianity. I think we need to take it back. When somehow or another, we need to bring it and make it a Jesus month.
But you know what I wish that they would do, bro? Like, they had like gang sweeps or like a drug sweep where they have like a big old thing. I wish they would do that at one of these Pride events. They'd be out there with the CPS and all that. Yeah, and then they would just start gaffling up all these parents, that all the parents that are taking their kid, like have some kind of like a sting in there, like have them in there, all them like that. And then as soon as they come and those dudes come out there naked and all that, start arresting all of them. Bam, bam. Imagine if they had something like that,
I bet you
arresting
they would
all of
find it.
them, taking
I
the
bet you they would.
CPS, question all them parents, all that. That's what I wish that they would do. Go ahead, Aaron.
I bet you if they did a sting like that, they would find a bunch of pedophiles, a bunch of people that are on that list. You know what I mean? And they would
They
see that.
would.
I just don't get it, man. It's funny because my daughter, she sent me a picture of her classroom and had all this rainbow stuff, but 4th of July, not just a little flag. That's it. And I'm like, it's the agenda that they're pushing, and I'm gonna call the school soon, and we're gonna address that. But another thing I want to talk to you about and switch to is the 4th of July, bro. How many people, indigenous, black, brown, did we see get on social media? But this is like one of the biggest pet peeves to us as Latinos that are conservative. And you could say I'm a Latino for Trump. You could say I'm whatever. But I'll tell you what, the leader, the founder of our group. I remember once somebody, this is the funniest thing, I'm going to keep on saying this. Somebody one time said, man, Lexit, you guys are straight up snitches. Your guys' leader is probably a federal agent undercover. And I remember telling Jesse that. Jesse goes, hey, bro, Jesse told me, hey, I didn't even snitch on the fool that shot me and paralyzed me. You think I'm going to snitch on some other ways? And I thought that was so funny. Jesse was like, man, they told me who shot you. Jesse's like, man, just take me to the hospital, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
No, but not only that, I was even risking being busted, because it's a violation to be shot and all that. And then plus, when I got shot, the pad where I got shot, it was all shot up because my cousin was ripping to 9mm, so it was all shot up. So they knew we were up to no good. So my PO told me that the cops told him, arrest him. He's not giving us no information. He's not being corrupt. So violate him. So I was all shot up and all jacked up, and that would have been rough. I ain't gonna lie. For me to go in the county all right there, all shot up, paralyzed and all that. I had a chest tube in my chest and all that. It would have been rough to me to have to go like that. Even still, I said, nah, I ain't snitching or what. You know what I mean? So they try to get me violated.
But the reason why I bring that up is because people will come at us and they'll be like, you guys are whitewashed, whatever, even though that, me growing up the way I did and my family being a part of the Cesar Chavez movement and all this stuff, just to see people burn the flag, it not only does it boggle my mind, I think to myself, like, it's like, it reminds me, and what's the name? I think it was it somebody said it reminds me of a girlfriend that you break up with but you don't want to leave. Who said that? Who said that? Somebody said that. It's like you not wanting to be with this, hating this girl and say, man, I don't like this, is trash, but you not wanting to leave the relationship. You're complaining about America. You're complaining about how horrible it is, but yet you're living off of all the benefits and all the great things that you have on social media, right? And you're sitting there going, this is the worst nation. I mean, this is the world. This is what they did to us. And I'm sitting there going, is this person an idiot? Like, I'm like, they must be a full-blown idiot. And nothing against the black culture, nothing against you guys, because I used to be married into a black family for a lot of years. It's some of the most, man, they could have church like you wouldn't believe, and it just hurts my heart because I've always been like, yo, you guys are conservative. What are you doing? But they're smart. They play the race card with the black folks. They always have. You ever notice that in schools, they never teach black history past the United States? They never talk about the kings and queens and all that stuff. And they just teach up to slavery. With us, they do. They teach us about the Aztecs, teach us about this, that, and the other. But with their culture, they stop right at civil, right when all you came over in the slave ship. That's your history. Nothing before that, just that. And it's smart because a lot of people that don't educate themselves will vote and react off of emotions, right? They'll see that and they'll be like, look at the white people did to me. Man, I can't stand the white people. And it's like, what white people? These white people, they didn't do nothing to you. Or the white people, what white people you're talking about? So a lot of times when on 4th of July, when all of us either should be quiet or patriotic and be like, hey, we're living in a nation where you're allowed to act however you want to act, but yet you're still freaking complaining. Like, yo, get up out of here. Go see what it's like to live somewhere else. And they're like, you get out of here. We built. No, get up. You're complaining. Get up out of here. Bye. Peace. Bounce. Dip. Whatever. Get out of here. But they won't. I'm telling you, it's like a little kid. I want to leave. I want to get out of the house. Well, go outside. And they don't want to budge. And you're like, look at you, little brat. Smack on the back of the head. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's because they got manipulated by some Marxist old teacher, and that all they want to, all those ones that are like that, that's all they want to talk about is race, racism, everything. And America ain't great, and just all total, like you said, just spoiled kids. They're disgusting. Yeah, you don't. They won't go back to none of those countries that they hate so much, and all of this. They're talking about indigenous and this and that, oh, colonize, all this, whatever. I'm like, what? The Indians used to kill each other. They used to fight each other and steal each other's land. Oh, they're not colonizers in that, you know what I mean? When the Indians used to have Indian wars against each other and conquer other Indians and take their women and their stuff, all that, take their land, but they never mentioned that, or the Spaniards. You know what I mean? That did that too, and all that. You know what I mean? Or the Muslims. They don't ever want to talk about none of that. It's always only America. And too, when all the other countries and all that too, they all had slaves. Even that, even the Jews, the Egypt had them, but Moses and all. Like it's always was slaves. All those other countries. But you notice that it's only America. And see, because you guys are getting manipulated. All if you guys have any family members, they're getting manipulated by these evil Marxists leftists. It's just always everything is America's fault. Everything when we're it has some bad whatever. Every country, there's not one country in this planet or Earth that didn't have a bad past and all that. Whatever, it's always been. That's how man is. There's been wars, people have conquered and all that. But right now, America is the greatest country in the world. And so, like you said, they're lucky that they could be it. Go ahead, Alfred.
What really what I laughed about Arod and Jesse was how Ben and Jerry's posted why celebrate 4th of July when this land was taken, and I just they did.
They
posted
did, Ben and
on Twitter.
Jerry's?
On Twitter, they posted it like, why are
You
we
should
gonna
make a
celebrate?
video on that, bro.
Why did you all? Why are we celebrating America when the lands that we're celebrating for were actually stolen? You should have seen Twitter lit up on Ben and Jerry's and said, "Then sell your factories."
Right.
And
right.
look at what happened. Look at what happened. And since you have your factories in America, sell your factories where you make these ice cream. And listen, Ben and Jerry's, to stay quiet. You should have seen the bombardment from Twitter on Ben and Jerry's because they posted that. See, the ideology is like everything's racist, but in a sense, when you start understanding who's propagating this racist stuff, it's not us. It's not minorities. It's not Latino. It's always a specific group, the leftists, right? They're propagating this stuff. Why? Because that's the way they keep us all divided. And now you have corporate America pushing all this narrative in regards to why we shouldn't. Last thing, bro, I got so upset because you know what I was seeing in groups? With all due respect to people that love dogs. And I saw this post from different groups and different things like, please do not lit up fireworks because remember your furry friends. And I just said, are you kidding me? This is the same dog that keeps me up all night barking, and you want me to not lit my fireworks? Nah, stop that. Screw that. I'm sorry, but I was like, no way.
A-Rod was one of those. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Hey, bro. When I was a kid, I used to tie the firecracker to my dog and let him go, bro. I was that kid, bro. Me and my brother were horrible. I don't even want to talk about it.
Hey, but wait, well, there's a number right there. If you guys want to call in, make sure you call in. But go ahead and get on the Hunter Biden, A-Rod.
Yeah, let's talk about Hunter Biden and him being yacked out. If anybody knows And I'll be honest with you guys. There was a time when your brother didn't go to church. God forgive me. I was out there in the world doing things I shouldn't be doing. I know what Hunter Biden, I know what somebody looks like when they're on cocaine. I know what somebody looks like when they're yacked out. I know what somebody looks like when they're on a sick one. And that fool on the 4th of July video was on a sick one. Big time.
You can take that down, Alfred.
Yeah, he was like this, bro. He was like,
yeah.
got the jaw going.
His eyes are like that.
And not only that, like, I think it's sad, and it speaks to parents and it speaks to family that you ever know somebody that when they first do drugs, you're like, what's up with this fool? Like, this was like, he's gone, bro. Like, what's up? And then you ever been around family members that have been doing drugs for a long time, and it becomes, you're so used to it, you're like, oh my God, that's just them. That's what they got into. They're not even like, it's not even phasing them. Like,
yeah, because he's old. He's probably like 50 years old or something.
Hey, you would think like this was on national television, bro. He just hit a line in the Oval Office. Or
yeah, you're in the White House. You can't wait till you leave to the White House?
Yeah, that was at the White. He hit a line straight off of the desk in the Oval Office. I don't know, bro. I mean, no disrespect to the Oval Office. I'm just saying, joke. That's a joking aside. I don't know a lot of people, but this fool was on the sick one. Families like acting like, you could tell Jill Biden's kind of like, oh my God, type of thing. She looks like embarrassed, like any mom should be. But that's what happens when you got a important daddy that has a lot of power, that has stuck up for his son, and they want to talk about how much Don Jr. Bro, look, I've had my arguments. I mean, my debates about Trump and my things I didn't like, but you'll never see Don Jr. do something like that. And you want to talk about integrity? You want to talk about raising your kids right? Bro, you could talk about Donald Trump all you want, but the Bidens raised Hunter Biden foul, bro. They did nothing. They raised a rotten, spoiled brat with jacked up teeth who thinks he can go around the world, sleep with whoever, and do whatever, and be on drugs in the White House. And you guys don't feel disrespected by it? Like, you guys are lames if you guys voted for that. That's whack, bro. That's whack. I'm sorry.
Yeah, imagine like anybody that ever did, because everybody knows my past and all. Like, if you guys ever done dope in their past, when you seen that video, you can tell he's on a sick one. I mean, he's tweaked out, cracked out of his mind. He's like, so, and like Arod said, he's like 50 something or something years old, and he's still doing that. And like, you can't wait. You know what I mean? You can't even be in the White House for what, 2 hours or whatever, go in there. You can't be sober for like 2 hours or whatever to go in the White. That's how bad that this dude is, that he's in there in front of the whole world, and literally the whole world all tweaked out. Like, these Democrats, like, it never ceased to amaze me, bro. It's like almost like a comedy skit nowadays, bro. It's like, how low can they possibly go? And then I seen like on a couple of these leftist Latino pages, I give them credit, some of them were actually posting it, which I was surprised. But then you go in the comments, from all these leftist Latinos, whatever, and they're making excuses for him, like, oh, since America can't, we do drugs, you're saying we're free, and it's like whatever stupid. And I'm thinking myself, like, if that was Trump, you guys would be all over and have so much to say. You'd be all outraged. But since it's Creepy Joe, you're right there trying to justify and make excuses for these. But imagine, so last week they had some tranny right there topless at the White House with all kinds of these freak shows right there, right? And then now this week they find dope in the White House, and then Hunter Biden's right there all racked out of his mind. They're making a mockery of the White House, bro. And it's just such a, and you think it should be like all magic, bro, on the View, all the wall coverage. That should be all insane. Like how they imagine when stupid old Stormy or whatever nonsense, that Avenatti, stupid, whatever, porn lawyer and all, it was all wall-to-wall breathless for anything about Trump. It's wall-to-wall coverage. That's all it is. Everything else is stopped. They're just talking about anything on Trump. But righteous news that they should righteously be uncovering, nothing. That's why these fake media, it's truly the enemy of the people. They were all over Trump, but then now when it comes to the other side, they're told, and that's what Lexit does. We post real news. We post stuff, and we're showing things that the fake media should be covering, and they're not. So we're showing it, and like Arod said, even a lot of Latino pages, even a lot of leftists, even ones follow us. So a lot of them, I could see that they're starting to change it now. They see us posting it, so that sometimes they're posting it too. So it's getting out, and it's having like a domino effect. So now those all the Latinos that are following these pages, all they're used to seeing is bashing conservatives, all anti-us page. But now they're starting to see one showing the other side and all that. So that's why Aaron was saying earlier, we do so much. I think Lexit more than any other organization and all that, because we do boots on the ground. We're all in the community at school board meetings, all of that, Dodger Stadium event, like all that, and social media. That, and we're reaching millions every month on social media, hitting people. So we're doing it all. But go ahead, Alfred.
I think for the most part, what you mentioned is right on the key. I think what you said is the leftists. We not only do we find out that we're living in a two-tier system, right? Because as Abram mentioned, you have Don Jr. who would not in any way ever think about going and showing up at the White House with the jaw, as you guys mentioned. But in a sense, we're starting to see people are waking up, including the leftist media. Initially, I think at the beginning there's so much there to uncover that now we're starting to see them cover it. And guess what they're doing? They're gravitating to the emotional part. That's what Jesse mentioned right now. He said the leftists are not covering in a sense, well, look at the father's love, right? What can the father
Yeah,
do towards the son that has
yeah.
a drug problem, a drug issue? But in a sense, we're saying papas now. We're saying it's enough is enough. We're going to expose this. And that's why I'm so happy that Lexit keeps on propagating and sending out the truth. And that's what we're doing, man. So kudos to Lexit. We're going to expose it regardless. If this would have been Don Jr., we would have been doing the same. I think that's what we got to
Well,
confirm and say.
I think I'm gonna do a video right after this, and Jesse brought up a good idea for a video. I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna come out and be like, in 1 month, you got titties. No, I didn't say titties. But
Well, in a
the
good
reason why
sense.
I say titties
Breast
because they weren't real.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
right.
say that. But I'm saying
Right.
one section you have this. In 1
Yeah.
month, the White House you have this, and you have this. This is what you guys voted for. This is what. Tell me at any time Donald Trump had this and this at the White House. You guys are foul. If you guys now at this point, you're just making excuses because of your hate and ignorance. Because the media told you to hate this man, and for some reason you're like, oh, he's white, I'm not. He's privileged, I'm not. Even though Joe Biden's white, but he's a different white. He's not that white. He's on the other side. And it's like, oh, okay. So make up your mind. And that's the reason why you guys will ignore all this crap being done on one side and focus on a bunch of stuff that end up coming out to be true, not true, right? Like all these things. Think about this. They got like we have actual evidence of this happening, and they're like, no. Where Trump was a bunch of I don't know maybes, and everybody was already chalking them up, right?
House is being raided.
Bro, I'm telling you. And then Joe is just I'm telling you, but they're smart. They play to the emotional. They play to the race card, and it's and that I feel is a two blame thing. I feel the Democrats and the Republicans. Because I feel like the Republicans do nothing to try to counter that. They bring no real Latinos on the platforms. They don't go out and do much. It's kind of like they're a uniparty. I feel like at most, like the
Yeah, the ones Latinos
majority.
that they do show out there with the student tie and all that, and that's a very small percentage of Latinos. Most of the Latinos are like us right here, everyday Latinos. So you think that they would be showing, but they try to show those little token Latinos and the student tie, talking all like that. And like I said, those are a very small percentage of Latinos. That's where the party is making a huge mistake. They should have just regular people like us on the platforms.
Right, 100%. But
But
yeah,
also, brother, wanted to talk about uh, everybody. If you haven't seen that movie, make sure you guys go see The Sound of Freedom. You're gonna be impacted. Like I've never a movie has impacted me more than that movie. It's gonna have you like jaw dropping. It's gonna like one of the greatest eye opener movies. It's gonna especially if you have kids like and stuff like that. It's gonna touch you. It's a must see. Everybody, and even if you can't afford tickets or whatever, you can get free tickets. You can go just, I think, just Google freedom, the sound of the sound, freedom, sound of freedom, free tickets, and it'll probably come up or whatever. But because they're, or go on the site or whatever, but because there's, you can get it free even if you, so they have no excuse. But you need to get out and support the movie. But just to see it, it needs to be seen. It needs, because right now Hollywood's pissed because it beat even Indiana Jones, and it was shown at way less theaters, and everybody's seen it. You won't see anybody that's seen it and it ain't telling you what I'm telling you. Anybody that's seen it is going to be telling you, wow, it's amazing. You need to guys need to go see it. But Arod had a little experience similar about like that movie. Arod.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier, and it's something that I shared with some people that have been following me for a while. I used to sign for the deaf and hard of hearing, and in the classroom, there was a new classroom, it was multi-handicapped, deaf and hard of hearing. It was in 2003, and I was in that classroom from 2003 to 2007, 8, and 2008, and I used to sign in that class. Well, this group of kids came in almost at the same age. They were about 3 or 4 years old, and when they came in, we pretty much raised them, right? And in 2008-ish, there was a little girl who lived in Delano, California, the city that I was born in, not just north of Bakersfield. They would bring her over because there was no deaf program over there for her, but her parents were also field workers, right? So they were working a lot, so she would have to go to school, whatnot. And she was there every day, and it was like my daughter. Like, we raised this little girl. I mean, from a young age, we seen her every day. For years, right? We seen her every day. And one day she just didn't show up. And we thought, well, it's not like her parents. They usually will let us know. Their work is, well, a whole week went by, and we're like, well, this is weird. They're field workers. Like, what the heck? So the teacher was like, I'm gonna call and ask. Well, he calls. He misses a day. He comes back that Monday, and he's like, I need everybody to sit down. And we were like, well, what's going on? And he just said, he mentioned her name, and he said, she's not going to be coming back. And I said, why? And he said, well, she's okay. She's alive, but she was raped for a whole year by an illegal immigrant. That was the grandma who was 60 years old. It was her boyfriend who was 30 years old. And when the mom would go to work, the grandma would watch her on her way. When she got home, the grandma would go to the store and he would rape her. The mom just came home one day and caught him on top of her, right? And she couldn't speak. She couldn't talk. She was a little Latina girl. And he was an illegal immigrant. And when movies like this, and Jess talks about movies like this where men don't see, they have no soul, they just take the innocent lives of children, it burns me up, because I at that moment I was like, here, me and my buddy Isaac, the guy I was supposed to go shooting with, we looked at each other and we're like, where's this dude at? And he was like, he's already locked up. He ended up only spending 6 years in prison before they sent him back to Mexico, right? And a lot of us were so furious and mad. And she couldn't speak. She couldn't talk. Her parents didn't sign. And he just took advantage of that and raped her every day for a whole year. 8 years old. She was 8 years old. And just raped her. And when I think about stuff like that, and fast forward, I seen her at a high school. It was just so happened that I showed up to do something at this high school, and she would have been like 5 years later. She looked at me and she was like, oh, my name sign was AY, it would be AY. And she was like, AY. She looked and she just ran and jumped on me and started crying. She knew that was the last time we seen her. She knew that we knew. And not everybody has the fortunate story of coming back. There's little girls like that are caught at the border and you never see them again. And they're sex trafficked, and that's their life every day. And there's a lot of stories in this movie that changed people's lives from what I heard. And I encourage everybody to go watch it, even if you're not involved, to share people and say, hey, look, go watch it. Because I'm telling you, man, if you haven't been a part of something that's impacted you like that, it makes you sick to your stomach. It's this weird feeling where you're like helpless and you can't do nothing, and they're a child, and you look at their innocence. And I think more people need to get involved. I know Sylvie with Legs, she has a big heart for the child trafficking and all that. And we go out a lot, and we advocate for stuff like that. Lillian too, here in Bakersfield, a lot of people that are involved in Legs do as well. And yeah, Jess is right. I went to work and there's guys that are hardcore gangsters that were hardcore gangsters. Were like, bro, if you don't go watch it, I'm gonna be pissed. You better go watch it this weekend. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going. I already got my tickets. They're like, it it rocked me, bro. It rocked me.
It's a must see,
And
bro.
I was
It's
like,
like it's not even a maybe, like you literally have to go see it. But imagine that, bro. I remember when Trump, I remember it was like a small number of missing children were at the border when Trump was in office, right? And you see AOC and the left, and that was all outraged. I don't know, it was like a 10 or 100 or whatever missing kids. Now there's 850,000 kids. Mention, say that again. 850,000 kids are missing at the border. And where's the Democrats at? Or where's all these leftist Latino pages, leftist Hollywood Latinos and all that? Where are any of the Democrats or any of them? What's being done about all these missing children that's going on and all that? Nothing. And you won't see them ever mention anything. Like that. It's just disgusting. And I did another video earlier, a little while ago, and it's saying, you notice that, bro? If you go all the faith pages and all the conservative pages, everybody's showing, saying, "Hey, go see that movie." But where don't you see it at? At all the liberal and Democrat and all that, not one of them is promoting it or not anything about the movie. Why is that? Like, why? Why are liberals and all, like we even like Alfred was telling that that movie came out years ago, but they were been all these years they've been trying to keep it from coming out because it's exposed. Everybody's pissed at all these pedophiles, and we know Hollywood and all the New World Order and all these pedophiles and all that. So they were doing everything they could to try to keep it from coming out. But that's just very telling. And ask yourself, like after any of you guys see this movie, as soon as you walk out, think to yourself, so why come the Democrats and liberals not be promoting this movie? Like, and we know why, because the next on their agenda is pedophilia. Go ahead, Alfred.
100%. I think overall, we learned that where the heart of the nation is. I mean, when we talk about Indiana Jones, Disney vested approximately $300 million to make this movie, right? Without a storyline, right? We have Indiana Jones, whatever the main character, now is a professor. Nobody respects him. No storyline, right? And you have something like Sound of Freedom with $14 million, low budget. Okay, I'm talking about $14 million that was invested, and now as taken this market, right, on the first day, making more than Indiana Jones. There's something to it, man. And I know that for a fact. We know that in one way or another, when it comes down to politics, Disney was fighting for this movie not to be thrown at this particular time, especially when it's facing off against Indiana Jones. And Jesse brought up a good point. Why is nobody talking about it in the left? Because like he said, it's all a strategy where, hey, pretty soon maps will be tolerated, right? Remember, maps will be something good. Pedophilia would be something of the norm, just like it was with the LGBTQ community. And with no disrespect to these people and to this community, but I'm telling you, there's people out there that they're not for this. They're not for it. They want to keep their personal life, their sexual life, really in close knit. They don't want to talk about it. Is that the younger generation that are being manipulated and indoctrinated to this cultural movement? Those are the ones that are pushing this nonsense. But if you talk to somebody that says in the 90s, and it's especially somebody that's gay or lesbian, they're like, we're not for it. This is not what we want. We want to be left alone. We want to live in private life. We want to be respected and be left alone. We don't want to do no harm. But it's the other side, the other that's been hijacked, that are pushing this stuff. And that's why Jesse brought up a good point. Why is the leftist not for this? Why are they not for it? And that's something questionable.
well, I think a big problem too is a lot of conservatives as well. Well, not a big problem. A lot of conservatives are like, oh, I have a tia or an uncle or somebody that's a part of that community. I don't want to offend them. Let me tell you something. You're not offending them. You're going to offend God when you stand before the Lord. If you believe so, you're going to have to answer for a lot of things. So you tell me who you want to offend here on earth. But lately I've been dealing. There's some family that may have not liked that I'm pushing hard, and I believe even too. My mom was telling me, I'll just be honest. I don't know if they watch or not. I don't really care. Well, I have an aunt that lives that lifestyle, and she said, my mom said she called her, and she kept on telling her, yeah, we went to LA and we went to a Dodger game. She kept repeating that again. Oh yeah, we went to a Dodger game. And she's a lesbian, right? Went to a Dodger, and my mom goes, I know what she was doing, right? And I thought about it, and I said, man, that's my tia. I always had respect for her, you know what I mean, whatever. And I thought to myself, but I don't care, because where she's going is far worse than a Dodger game, right? And I'm gonna tell you what, if somebody doesn't tell them the truth, and that has the truth, then I'm gonna be held accountable. So I told my mom, hey, I'm not the one doing right. I'm actually the one doing right. So they could throw it, and my mom goes, I ignored it, whatever. And I go, hey, that's because at the core of her, if she knew it wasn't a problem, she wouldn't say nothing. Because deep down inside, people know this isn't right. If she knows the gospel, she was raised with the truth. You know what I mean? So it's either you pick a side, man. You stand for what's truth and stand for what's right. So before we wrap it up, yeah, go see that movie. Jesse's right. I got all 8 tickets already. I'm going to see the movie this Saturday at 7 o'clock. My whole family's going. I know you guys are like 8 people. Yes, we have a lot of people in my house, so it was a Brady Bunch. But I want to talk about the backpack event before we leave. We have the backpack event coming up, our 2nd annual Lexit backpack event in South Central, in the hood, at Calvary Chapel, South Los Angeles. We're having it there with the pastor and the congregation. And the reason why we do this, because we want people in the community to see people like us giving back that think the way we do. We want to know these people exist. You know how they always see us and they go, oh, they're MAGA supporters. You know how many times people say, you guys voted for Trump, or you guys are conservative and you do all this? Yeah, we do. We do. Wow. Never seen that before. I thought it was just Democrats. But if we don't put our money where our mouth is, and we don't go out there and do that as well, and plus we go out there too to see some of these kids are not fortunate to have backpacks, haircuts, or food before school starts. It might brighten up their day. God will use us. They'll remember the church, and they'll come back there one day and say, hey, that church is the church that gave to me when I was a kid. Some people actually think that way. Hey, I remember that church, homie. That church was a church that gave to me and my family. We didn't have a lot. Hey, don't tag that church up, bro. That church is cool right there. They're cool people. You never know. There's people that are out there that are like that, that have respect like that. And Jesse, last year was a success. This year, we hope success. If you guys want to donate pens, paper, anything, money, backpacks, we are Lexit. Get a hold of us. DM us on Instagram and see how you guys can help out and donate. We'd appreciate it. I know Jess has got a big heart for you. I love going out there when Jess goes to these things, because Jess be feeding the kids and be chopping up with the kids, and we're just having a good time. So you got anything to say on that, Jess?
Yeah, just come out. If you want to come out, you can help us. Yeah, we're going to go out there to South Central LA, help the needy, because we're not just talking about it, politics and all of that. Sometimes what Lexit is, we show the love of Christ, and that we're probably the only conservatives that you see go out into the hood and all that. But we're going to go out into the hood and help out the kids, basically, because times are rough. We know what's going on with the Democrat Biden and tearing up this economy, especially over here in California. They're running California into the ground, so we're going to give them some food. They'll have hot dogs, probably ice cream, churros, backpacks, school supplies. So if you want to help us, donate, because it's just coming out of our pockets. That's how we do it all the time. But if you want, you could donate anything, supplies or anything. Just DM. You have any school supplies, or go to wearelexit.com and you could donate. Just donate right there at wearelexit.com. But go ahead, Alfred, say your last little.
Yep. For the last man, Lisa Loreto asked a question. She said, is the movie good for children to see also? And that's a good question. I mean, I wouldn't personally. Children, they got to be,
Yeah,
12,
I wouldn't.
13 and up.
Son, he's 12.
Yeah.
13 to
Yeah,
12.
that's all right. Like 12, as long as they know what time it is, like 12, maybe. I would say 12 around like pretty much 10, 12. It doesn't show nothing nasty or nothing like that, but just I don't know. I guess it would be good for kids, but as long
Like
as
Jeff said, as
they're,
long
you
as
know what
you
I'm
can
saying, they're all
comprehend,
right.
as long as they
Because then
can
they need to
comprehend it.
see so they won't get kidnapped and things like that too. So
Right.
I guess it's depending. Maybe if they're like real little, maybe like I guess maybe 7 or 8 and under, maybe no, and 8 and over. You know what I mean? If they could be quiet, like those kind of age where they could just sit and watch a movie, I guess they'll be good.
I like Jess said. Jess is like, if they know what time it is, if they know what's up.
So what's up? Yeah, to use the discretion because that's one of the things that they're asking. Thank you, everyone. I think for the most part, man, we got a lot of people that are letting up. I'm gonna give a shout out to Todd. Todd Callaso's there, Lisa Loreto. We got Mary Margaret Flores Ruckman, who's been actively sharing. Shirley McLean. We got Mark, of course, Mark. And we have who else? Dad. Dad is in there. Dad, Rick and Sylvia Holguin. Thank you, Dad, for supporting supporting
Hey,
the
Rick's
mission right
jealous of
here.
my beer, bro. Rick's
You
jealous.
met him, Alfred?
I
Alfred, did
did
you meet
met
my
him,
dad?
man. Yeah, I saw him here. I think he was here, man. Awesome. I met your dad also at the Dodger, man. Off the hook, man. That is awesome, man. I like how he clowns A-Rod, man.
Hey, he clowns everybody, brother. So when he sees you, he's probably gonna clown you next, bro.
I
That's all
know.
he does, huh,
I'm
Rod?
sure. I'm sure.
Hey,
And
it's funny, bro.
yeah. And his defense, he's saying no. He's saying no. I don't clown on A-Rod.
Hey,
That's
he clowned on me right before the show, bro. He clowned on me right before the show.
Oh man, I saw it. I was laughing. I was like, yeah. I said at first I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But hey, like a son, man. I think A-Rod, he loves you like a son, brother. So thanks so
But
much for all the support.
well, thank you guys so much for watching us. We'll be on again hopefully next week. See you soon. Remember, go out and see The Sound of Freedom. It's a must-see movie. Go out there to see and tell otherwise. Share it on your social media. Tell everybody on your social medias to go see the movie. All right. God
Take care.
bless.
God bless you. Take care.
Peace.
Hi, this is Kathy DeHart with DeHart Construction Services, located right here in the Inland Empire. You know, we're a family-owned business, and today our youngest member of our family is visiting. Kinsey, can you say hi?
Hi.
Now, Kinsey, I have an important question for you. Where do you think food comes from?
A market store?
You're right. But before it gets to a market, we have farmers and dairies and all kinds of other people who make food. Do you remember hearing that?
Uh-huh.
And then we have people who have to keep the food cold.
And guess what?
What?
I remember we getting strawberries at a little market.
Well, Papa and I, we work with companies that make food and keep food cold and gets it to the grocery stores.
That's cool.
DCS is a proud supporter of the American Dream. For all of your cold storage or food facility needs, visit our website at chillwithdheart.com. Once again, chillwithdheart.com. Serving all of California, CSLB 949062.